So the record, it's album number 2. We're a few years removed from the self-titled record. But this time it's a little bit different look for the band. Obviously Cale's in the group now, a couple lineup changes, and this record's a lot different in a lot of ways, and it's just a completely different band. How does the band feel right now compared to where it did 3 or 4 years ago when you guys formed? Obviously there's a huge following now.
Right, yeah. I mean, well, when we put out the first album, Mike and I basically wrote that record. I wouldn't say fast, but it came to life pretty quickly. He had a lot of music, and I listened to the music. I put my melodies down, wrote some lyrics, and it all happened really quick. So, this time around, yeah, we've taken a long time to get things in order, get our personal lives in order and that sort of thing. We spent a long time in the studio. Felt like forever trying to get this record done, but at the same time it was, a much needed break. And yeah, just the natural evolution for the band. Corey Lowry, our old bass player, was asked to join Cedar full time, playing guitar. So it made sense, for Cale and Sal to sort of move in and round out the lineup. So yeah, we're in a good spot now. We were in a good spot back then as well, but it feels really good at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot more familiarity between members this time around. The last time, it was guys from different bands, but this time, obviously, with you and Cale, being brothers, and then Sal and Mike being from Stain, did that familiarity help add to the writing and recording process of putting this whole thing together?
Yeah, for sure. Mike and Sal have worked together so much in the past, and Sal worked with Saint Asonia as well when we were on tour. So, and Cale and I have played music together since, as far back as I can remember, basically since we were like 5 years old or something.
Right.
So, it's pretty natural. We're all, we're family anyways, but it's just, it's a good solid band. The talent is really what it comes down to, and it's great talent. But even outside of that, just being brothers all the way around is really awesome.
Yeah, and you added a couple elements with this record. Overall, musically, the record feels a lot more, I don't want to say complete, because the last record was insane and amazing, but you guys ventured out a little bit in a few different ways with this record. Is that something because with the last record you really kind of didn't know where it was going to go, and this time there's more comfort there, or what led to wanting to kind of expand it a little bit?
Well, I think I've always wanted to, or tried to, I guess, with each record, sort of evolve at least a little bit when, making a new record. So you always hope that it's going to be a little bit better than the last, or at least it's going to be an evolution for the band, in some way. And I think this time around we branched out and we decided to do some co-writing with outside writers, which just in itself brought a different vibe to some of the songs. And then on top of that, the production, we added keys, and we added some different beats and rhythms and that sort of thing. So just in general, we wanted to set the bar a little bit higher than just the standard playing heavy riffs, with vocals over heavy riffs. We wanted to mix it up a bit. So I think we kind of accomplished that on this album.
Yeah. And then bringing Sully in for the first single that you guys released, giving fans the first taste of this record, bringing a guy like him in. Was that something you guys, not necessarily him in particular, but was that something you guys kind of wanted to do when you set out to kind of, when it was done and you're like, this is the one that we need to release, and maybe bringing on a guest vocalist, because you didn't do that on the first record?
Right, yeah, no, actually, the evolution of that song was written a few years ago. So
Okay.
Mike and it wasn't fully written, but Mike and Sully, early on, but before Mike and I actually even started working together, they worked on this song, and the intention was to have it in a movie or have it for a movie soundtrack. And that never happened. That didn't end up happening. So the song basically got shelved, and Mike kind of just held on to it for a while. And I heard the song a couple of years ago when we were making the first record, and I loved it. But we had a whole bunch of material. So basically, this time around, we wanted to revisit the song again, and so we did. I rewrote the verses, and we changed a few things here and there. And because Sully co-wrote the song with Mike a while ago, it only made sense to have him sing on it if he wanted to, and he did. So, yeah, we were just really fortunate to have him a part of the song, and yeah, it turned out to be pretty cool. And with it's a pretty straightforward rockin' song. It just felt like a good song to introduce to fans after a few years of being away. I think it goes for a lot of different, any artist or whatever. The first single isn't always necessarily the, quote unquote, the best song of the album, but
right.
This felt like the right one to put out there so people could sort of get reintroduced to the band and hear where we're at. So.
Yeah, and the last album cycle was very, very cool and also very interesting, because I remember when the teaser announcement got made, nobody knew really what was coming or even what the band was or who was in it, and your first show was Rock on the Range. I mean, it almost seems like immediately fans gravitated towards this band. Were you guys surprised at all with the amount of success that you got from the first record, those touring cycles and all that, and how quick it happened?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I mean, like I said, Mike and I, when we first started working together, it all came together really quick, and we have such a great team, with our management and our label and everything, just everybody doing a really amazing job. So it was really, I didn't expect it to go sort of, I guess, as well as it did in the very beginning. I just, being the first show for us was Rock on the Range, like you said, and that's a pretty amazing first gig for a band. So
setting the bar high.
Obviously we've got backstory, and so I know, right? So it went really well, and we've been away for a few years, and it's just nice to be back. Yep. Yeah,
definitely. I wanted to ask you, just not really Asonia related, but kind of, but 3 years ago, you did a show in Fort Wayne at Pierre's where I went to that show and covered it. It was just you acoustic, but it was also on election night as well in 2016. What was that night like for you? Did that show have any different feel for you at all, or was there any pressure you put on yourself to kind of take people's minds away from just the fact that that was such a big night, or was that like another show for you?
You know what? I vaguely remember that actually playing on election night. And I think I remember before, and I was just thinking, I hope, because I've lived in the States a lot. I live in Canada now, and I was born and raised in Canada, but I spent a big part of my life in the States, and I was just hoping before I went on that I hope the show kind of takes away from some of that chaos and just the whole vibe, because it's a weird weird sort of during that whole period. So it was an interesting night. I do remember it. And it wasn't just another show. I was just hoping that people kind of got out of their heads, I guess, for that one.
I didn't even realize that it was that it was that night until I got there. I was like, oh, well, this is going to be fun, and not to get political. Right. We don't want to do that, but I was just like, that was like the perfect show for a night like that, because I feel like everybody was there wanting to just get away and have a good time. It was really just a really cool night. It was awesome. But
cool.
Yeah, man. Going back to touring, obviously the record comes out next week. Touring plans already in place. is it a different outlook as far as what's planned this time around with the sophomore record? You know, as the first one's under the belt, you guys are coming back. I mean, what does touring look like for the next probably 3 years for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to just spend a lot of time on the road because we've been gone for a few years, and I mean, we're all just really stoked to get back out on the road and join up with some different bands and some friends and hit the road and play shows and festivals. I know we'll definitely be touring all of next year and into 2021, and the plan is to play all the festivals and hopefully go out with some great bands.
Yeah, man. It's going to be awesome, man. The record kicks ass. I'm ready for the world to hear it, dude. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. It's been a fun ride already, and it's just getting started, man.
Right on, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time as well, man.
Absolutely. Good luck on everything. Stay safe on the road. We'll see you out there.